It is Thursday, May 15th, 2025, and it just happened, guys. A $4,000 Social Security boost for American seniors was unveiled, and within days, countries all over the world all of a sudden they started flocking to the United States economy with billions of dollars in new investments. Now, I want you to ask yourself this, guys. Why all of a sudden would Saudi Arabia, Japan, even former trade rivals all of a sudden suddenly just rush to invest in America right after President Trump pushed this bill? What do they know? What is the media not telling you? These are the questions we always need to be asking ourselves. So in today's video, I want to go ahead and break down how this new $4,000 tax break for seniors is so much bigger than it seems. And it's not just a win for retirees. And I know we're getting mixed signals about, how good is this thing? Is it as good as we were promised? Is it better? Is it worse? You guys let me know. You be the judge. Because at the end of the day, it's not about my opinion. It's about your opinion. So I want to go ahead and break down how this $4,000 new tax break from Trump going to seniors is so much bigger than it seems. It's not just a win for retirees. It's a signal to the world that America is open for business again. So I want to expose why this bill is already sparking this global investment wave, what it means for your money, and how President Trump's Made in America agenda is actually back in full force. If you guys appreciate the news updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and just drop a quick yes if you're able to hear me. I'm going to share with you guys what's really inside this bill. I want to talk to you about who qualifies for this $4,000 break, which countries are pouring money into the United States factories, and how inflation and grocery prices they're quietly collapsing under the radar. Plus, definitely stick around, guys, because toward the end of the video, I'm going to reveal one hidden clause in this bill that Wall Street does not want you to see. The part that could actually reshape the next decade of American wealth. You guys heard about the great wealth transfer, right? Well, this is phase 1.5 of that, if you ask me. Now, this is not just another policy update. This is the start of something big. So let's go ahead and break it all down. Let's go ahead and start with the core behind this global chain reaction here. President Trump's $4,000 Social Security boost, right? Well, what is it and who qualifies for this thing, right? Well, this is not a stimulus check, as many people thought it was. It's not a $4,000 stimulus check. It's not a $4,000 Doge dividend check or anything like that. In fact, it's not just some vague promise either, though. It's a real tax break, written within the draft bill released by House Republicans, backed by Trump himself. I want you to know what it means. Here's what it means. If you are 65 years old or older, and comment down below if you're over 65. If you're over 65, just drop me a quick 65 in the comments. If you're over 65, your income is under $75,000 as an individual, or under $150,000 if you file jointly, your taxes, then you could be eligible for a $4,000 deduction on your federal income tax. Let me say that again. $4,000 knocked off your taxable income. Guys, this means more money stays in your pocket. Now, more money staying in your pocket is always a good thing, is it not? And it's not just symbolic. It's targeted relief for seniors, many of whom are fighting to keep up with rising prices, fixed incomes, and unexpected costs. This particular deduction would actually apply from 2025 all the way to 2028, meaning it's not just a one-time stunt. This is actually a structural shift. But here's why it's a big deal. If you've been following Trump's campaign from the start, you probably already know what he originally promised. And let me know if you already heard this before. We will end the taxation of Social Security benefits once and for all. You guys remember that? See, that's what millions of Americans are counting on. But when the draft bill came out, that full elimination, it was gone. It wasn't in there. Instead, Congress, what's up with Congress, guys? Instead, Congress inserted this $4,000 deduction as a compromise, citing Senate rules and budget reconciliation constraints. Was it a walkback? Did they try to renege on that big promise? What do you think? Maybe, maybe not. But it was also a strategic move, and I want to explain in just a second why this smaller step may actually be the key to unlocking a much larger global financial shift. Because here's what happened next, guys. Within days of the bill's release, the global markets, they started moving. Investment offers, factory expansions, even nations that used to side with China, they're now turning toward Trump's America. So I want to break that part down next. But first, what happens when retirees suddenly have more spending power? What signal does this send to foreign investors? Well, stick with me, guys, because I'm about to break down, we're about to explore how this one single line of tax policy aimed at America's seniors set off a massive ripple effect that reached Saudi Arabia, Canada, Japan, and 75 other other nations. Yeah, here's what nobody tells you when you turn 65. Medicare's not simple, and picking the wrong plan, it could cost you big time. That's why I tell everybody about Chapter. They were founded by people who watched their own parents get stuck with bad Medicare advice. But now, they make sure you get it right by checking every plan available, not just a few. Look at Julie in Kansas. She saved $400 a year. Jamie in Texas saved $600. Guys, it's free, it's personal, and it's smarter. So give our friends at Chapter a call at 909-563-8279, or you can hit them up on the web right now at askchapter.org/Ron and get the help you finally deserve. Give them a call right now. So, if you've got seniors with more money in their pocket, right? You got Trump delivering targeted tax relief instead of vague promises, right? Then all of a sudden something very unexpected happened. According to former White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow, something unprecedented started the moment the new plan hit the table. Over 75 to 100 countries, yes, countries, guys, began reaching out to the U.S. Not to criticize, not to protest, but to invest in the U.S. These weren't just phone calls or diplomatic niceties. These were concrete proposals. I'm talking about offers to build new factories, commitments to shift production to U.S. soil, capital ready to be deployed in Trump's Made in America zones. Saudi Arabia alone, $600 billion in one new onshore investment. Get this, Trump claims the total number is over $10 trillion in foreign and domestic commitments. And while some call that number aspirational, I want you to remember, Larry Kudlow actually worked with President Trump directly, and he says these figures often end up becoming reality. So the big question is, why now? Right? Why are countries running to invest in the U.S. after a sudden deduction aimed at retirees? Well, I think the answer lies in what Larry Kudlow calls Liberation Day. I think it was early April when Trump dropped the hammer, a total trade reset. He called it the shock and awe reciprocal trade policy, and it shook the global economy, really. Here's what was included. Basically, we had a universal 10% baseline tariff. It was a no more games trade model, right? We had a 90-day pause to let nations submit new deals directly into the U.S. And this is key, no one went to China. Nobody went to China. They all went to the U.S. Not one major economic player turned to Xi Jinping for leadership. Instead, they came to America. Guys, this is massive, because when Trump laid out his terms with tariffs, they protect the U.S. jobs, they tax incentives that reward the U.S. factories, and a Social Security boost that ultimately empowered U.S. consumers. He completely flipped the whole global investment script. That's what he did. America stopped looking like a market to exploit and take advantage of and started looking more like the safest, smartest bet on earth. And we're just getting started. So ride with me, guys, because what I want to share with you next, I want to go ahead and break down how inflation, the stock market, and even the price of groceries are backing this up with cold, hard proof, guys. You're going to see the numbers on the tariff revenue, the consumer trends, and how the U.S. dollar just became the world's magnet again. So the critics, they said it wouldn't work. Media said Trump's trade moves would spark inflation, they would tank the dollar, and they would ultimately basically kind of scare off foreign investment. But I want you to look at the data. Inflation, it's down 1.6% annualized over the last 3 months. You got groceries, peanut butter, bacon, eggs, even used cars. They're all down or they're flat in price. The dollar? Well, the dollar is stronger than it has been in over a year. What about the stock market? Well, stock market's surging. Investors are betting on America again. And perhaps even more shockingly, tariff revenues they're just pouring it in. You know, you got estimates showing that we could rake in like $200 billion from tariffs just this year alone. This is a number that economists said that was completely impossible just a few months ago. That money is getting reinvested. That stability attracts even more investments. And we're not just seeing headlines, guys. We're actually seeing real, measurable reversals in the decline narrative that plagued America under the previous leadership, under Joe Biden's leadership. So here's the part that most people, that really nobody's even talking about. Forget most people. Nobody's talking about this. This $4,000 deduction for seniors. This is not just some budget line item. I think this is a signal here, okay? So let's go ahead and connect the dots. When Trump greenlit this $4,000 deduction, it showed the world something powerful. It showed that America is serious about rebuilding its middle class, that retirees are not being ignored, they're being empowered, that domestic consumer confidence is being restored one tax break at a time. Now, for global investors, that's like a turning point on a giant neon sign that's basically saying, hey, look, the country is stable, it's its people are spending and its leadership is pro-growth. This is good news. This is amazing news. Now, if you go ahead and combine that with Trump's other pro-business policies, a 15% corporate tax for made in America companies, 100% expensing for business equipment and factory construction, and now you've got a perfect storm here, guys. You got a perfect storm. That's why countries that once turned to China are now cutting deals with us instead. And so this is why private capital is flowing in from Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. This is why America is becoming the global investment magnet again. And we're not done yet either. What I want to share with you guys is how this momentum is actually reshaping the political landscape, and how Trump and his so-called comeback isn't just about the polls. It's actually about raw economic power, because Trump's blue-collar boom might just be starting all over again. Now, if you guys haven't already, I know you're looking for opportunities to make more money. I know you're looking for opportunities to save more money. If you agree with me on that, just drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Just be like, hey, I want to make more money. I want to save more money. Just comment that right now. One of the easiest ways you can do that if you're over 65, and let's not be greedy, guys. If your parents are over 65, if your grandparents are over 65, reach out to Chapter right now and tell them that Ron told you to reach out. I just want to know how much you can save me on my Medicare. That's really it. And I believe in not only looking out for myself and my family, but I should look out for my parents. I should look out for my grandparents. And I think you probably agree. So even if you're not 65 yet, look out for your parents. Look out for your grandparents. Reach out to Chapter for them, because they may not even know about it. It takes 2 seconds. 2 seconds could save them, who knows? Right? So just reach out to them, and if you can save them anything, I'm pretty sure they give you a big, huge hug, right? So anyway, give our friends over at Chapter a call, or more easily, you could probably hit them up on the web instead. But anyway, let's go ahead and zoom out just for a second here, because this is not just about tax policy or market moves. This is about leadership, guys. 6 weeks ago, maybe 7 weeks ago, the media said Trump was fading. Pundits were writing him off. The polls were tightening. Even some allies were getting nervous. Then came the strategy: a $4,000 tax relief plan for millions of seniors, a total trade reset that brought 75 plus countries right to America's doorstep, a corporate tax code designed to make the U.S. the #1 destination for global business. And now, if Larry Kudlow put it, he said Trump is back in the saddle. What we're seeing right now isn't just some comeback. It's actually a calculated economic strike that has reshaped the political battlefield. So I would say that that's pretty huge. Now, he's actually delivering for retirees. He's drawing in trillions in capital, and he's doing it while crushing the old narrative that America is in decline. And this brings us to one final critical question, guys. What's next? Will Congress pass the full bill, including the Social Security deduction? Will we see Trump double down and push for the full elimination of Social Security taxes in a second wave? Could this momentum lead to a new blue-collar boom, where American workers, investors, and retirees all benefit? That's the direction that we're headed if this plan holds true, and if the current surge of confidence continues. Now, I want to ask you this. Trump has to sign off on this. It doesn't matter if the House approves, if the Senate approves. If Trump doesn't add that final signature to the end, the whole bill will die. President Trump can veto this bill if it's not to his liking. So I want to ask you this. Drop a quick 47 if you think Trump will hold out for a full elimination of Social Security tax. Let me know, guys. Drop a 47 down below if you think Trump will hold out for a full elimination of Social Security tax. Drop a 46 if you think he'll just accept the $4,000 tax deduction instead. But here's a real kicker. Foreign nations, they're waiting to see if the bill passes. They're already investing. They've seen enough to believe in where this thing is going. So now the question is, will America finish the job, or will America let this moment slip away? Because if the $4,000 deduction was just the beginning, this next phase could be bigger than anything we've seen in decades. Now, if you've been paying close attention, this isn't just about tax cuts or economic data. This is about political transformation, and the timing could not be more explosive. Now, we all know Trump, art of the deal. He's a phenomenal negotiator, and this is probably why so many Americans backed him in the 2024 presidential election. They knew, they felt, they believed that Trump could turn America around and make it great again, right? Well, what if this is part of Trump's plan all along? What if this was part of Trump's strategy for full Social Security tax elimination by allowing allowing Congress to, knowing what Congress is typically going to do, they're going to try to kick the can down the road, they're going to delay and waste time, and there's going to be some back and forth negotiation, yada, 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 right? What if Trump's sitting there waiting quietly because his plan is to later offer or demand the full Social Security tax elimination later on down the line? I'm just saying. This is a possibility. We don't know what Trump's planning to do, and he will not tell us because that's a part of the strategy. You can't tell your opponent what your plan is because they'll re-strategize their own plans once they know what your plans are. So you can never tell your enemy what your plan is. So Trump will not do that. Like, that would be silly. You're not going to go to a car dealership and say, hey, my real goal is this price, but I'm going to lowball you way lower than that price just so I can hopefully get to my real price. You can't do that. This is also why Trump's not going to broadcast what his plan is for China. He can't do that. Xi Jinping and, the CCP is always going to be listening. They're going to watch our news. They're going to say, oh, well, Trump said he's going to do this, so we're going to do this now. No, you can't do that. Anyway, just a few weeks ago, the headlines were completely brutal. Even some conservatives were whispering that Trump has lost momentum, that the media attacks were actually sticking, that Biden might cruise through 2025 without a real fight. But then all of a sudden, boom, a $4,000 Social Security tax break, a flood of global investments, and inflation dropping while American strength rebounds. Now, Larry Kudlow, he didn't mince words when he said 6 weeks ago Trump was sinking, but now he's back in the saddle. Now, I think that's a little bit more than a metaphor. I think it's a political shift. It's driven not by slogans or rallies, but actually by results. So while the White House spins media narratives and the Beltway plays defense, Trump is rebuilding America's economic engine and the world is watching. So what's next, right? What is next? Well, here's the question that should be on everybody's mind right now. Will Congress pass the full tax bill? Will they lock in that $4,000 deduction for seniors? Or will internal GOP opposition like Chip Roy's, slow things down? Will Trump push for the full Social Security tax elimination next? I mean, he's already signaled that it's a top priority. He said it many times. He didn't say it once. He said it many times. So if this deduction is just phase one, the full repeal could be the next bombshell waiting to drop. And so what happens if this investment wave keeps growing from foreign countries? What if factories keep popping up, jobs keep returning to the U.S., and the U.S. dollar keeps climbing? You might be looking at the beginning of Trump's second economic revolution, what Larry Kudlow called the blue-collar boom 2.0. I'm just saying. And I want you to think about this. The stakes could not be any higher. Will this new prosperity reach average Americans? Will seniors finally be free of double taxation? Will this wave of investment reshape the election in the next 4 years of global power? Right? That's what we're going to be watching together, folks. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more updates and analysis like this. If you made it this far, you already know how big this moment really is. And trust me, guys, this is just the beginning. So hit like, smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, because I'm going to be tracking every single change to this bill, every investment deal, and every move that could impact your future wealth, retirement, and your freedom. All right. And speaking of freedom, I have actually put a program together, a group of people who are unwilling to live life under normal terms. It is called the Liberty Pursuit Network. Feel free to join us over there. I'll leave a link for you in the description down below for those folks who want to live life on their own terms. Amazing community over there. Liberty Pursuit Network, link in the description down below. We'll see you guys on the next video.